In the darkest blackness of human carnage and suffering, police, fire, and EMS intercede on behalf of mankind. God himself reaches out to those who suffer through their hands. Their service is a clear and unmistakable demonstration that God does not abandon people in the storms of life.
This podcast is to just speak these things out there for somebody listening and like, okay, listen, you know, maybe the family member of a first responder is going to listen who is like fearful or dreading every day that they walk out the door, their loved one walks out the door. It's like, is this the last day? Is this going to be somebody going to knock on my door? Well, I mean, you hope not, but what if it does?
Right.
What if it happens? You know, I want to encourage people, get these things in order now. Have the conversations. Tell people how much they mean to you. You know, we joke around, we kid around, but the bottom line is, you know, you love people. It's like, I love you guys. I mean, I don't want anything to happen to you, but why do I not tell you that? Well, yeah, it's not very macho of me. I can't go around there. I love you, man. Well, you know, in our church, I say it all the time to people. Like, this guy's weird. I don't even know him. He's telling me he loves me. We don't get tomorrow. We have now. Mm-hmm. This is it. This is all we got. Tomorrow may not come. If there was something you could say to the younger generation, you know, those that are up and coming, that are just starting careers, if there was advice, and what would you say? Anything?
I would say that self-care is very important because you have to be, you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. Yeah. And just self-care is very important, whatever that looks like for you. If it's working out, if it's having friendships outside of law enforcement, because let's be real, like we can be, because our work is so negative, we tend to come in and bitch, right? About stuff that's going on. I didn't get that warrant. You know, this guy did this like
again.
Negative. Negative. And but when you have those relationships outside of work, like I got some great friends outside of work, outside of law enforcement. And I'm not going to bring them down by talking about all my crappy stuff here. If they ask, I'll share stuff with them.
Right.
But it's those outside relationships kind of are more positive.
Yeah.
You know, so self-care in this job is extremely important. And it can look different for everyone. Everyone doesn't like to exercise, and that's fine. But you got to have a different way, whether it's reading, going vacations, fishing, dogs. I mean, dogs are... Anybody here not like dogs?
I don't know anybody that doesn't like dogs.
We don't trust people who don't like dogs.
Exactly.
So you have to find, you know, what brings you happiness and take care and helps take care of yourself, you know. So that I think that would be, and talking, right? That's why we're here is we need to really push the talking. Talking about the good days, talking about the bad days.
Right.
That helps us tremendously. And it doesn't, we said this before, it doesn't have to be a peer supporter within your own agency. The sheriff's office has, they take the mental health pretty serious, and we all of us have access to, we never walk alone. And that's huge. So that's an outside resource that if you need to talk about something with someone, but you don't want to do it within your agency because you fear whatever, we have that resource to use. And that sheriff's office pays for that, for us to have that. So they offer us that resource. So for our younger people, self-care is just huge. You have to take care of yourself if you want to take care of others.
Yeah, that's right. It's a good way of looking at it. So self-care, and so you're not saying go out drinking every night after
No.
that used to be, that was
huge back in the day.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And now you learn it's like, well, that's actually not helping you. You mentioned sleep. 7, I think you said 7.
7 to 9.
How do you do that?
Well, first of all, I don't have kids, so that's probably huge right there.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
5 dogs and 4 chickens. So they know the routine, Gary.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it's like 7:05, I got a dog that will sit in the doorway to go to the bedroom like, "Hello."
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
bedtime. It's
See what time it
hilarious.
is?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a routine.
Right.
I'm a big routine person, and the people closest to me can tell when that routine gets broken because I'm a little bit off.
Yeah.
But that's the way it goes, right? Sometimes you get called in early.
Right.
Sometimes you got to work late, and the big thing for me is getting that sleep, having my coffee in the morning and getting the workout in. However, if I get to bed late, I won't sacrifice sleep for the workout. The sleep is more important. That's number one for me. And then the workout and yada, yada.
Yeah.
So I'm a big routine person. You ask anybody, they're going to tell you she's in bed, winding down for the day, between 6:30 and 7:30. They know.
Yeah.
That's important to me. I make it like they know it's important to me that sleep, because if you don't have a good night's sleep, you're already starting your day like crap.
Right. That's right.
Who wants to go to work tired, right? Are you at your best when you're tired?
No.
No,
No.
I'm not. So I make it's a priority in our house, and I have a spouse who's on board with that. She likes her sleep too. So, and I think that's probably a key component is the support from your spouse, and being on the same page, and them knowing what's important to you and what is important to them, and good sleep is important to her too.
Yeah. Well, that is a key. Sleep is a key, and I'm glad you're highlighting that, because we've been through some things, and
That's one of the key issues that they generally bring up in any of these mental health. And we've been doing this since way back. A couple decades on taking classes and going to different seminars and so on and so forth. And that was one of the things that they bring up, and even to sleep aids and things of that nature.
Yeah.
For myself, that's been a poor one as far as I can look back.
Yeah. That's a tough.
It's inheritable too, just so you know.
I maybe average 4 to 5 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. See. I know. I mean, and I hate to say this, but I'm admitting this, that I'm just as bad, and not by choice, but I want to be able to do a better job, and I can't seem to do it. I can't seem to do it.
Does your brain not turn off? Because I got a coping mechanism that I learned in the peer support training, right? Our brains, whether you're thinking about what happened during the day, whether you're thinking about tomorrow. I learned from Tammy. Tammy shared this, and she shared it because she learned it in a training they put on. So somebody shared it with her. You pick a word. So hers was tomato. And you have to then pick a new word for T. So I'm like, teddy bear. Okay. Oh, the ocean. Oh, I like the ocean. You think about the ocean and the noise and how it's calming. I'm a terrible speller, but I think it next is M. And I'm like,
Meatballs.
Music.
Meatballs. Music.
Meatballs. I'm going with meatballs.
And we're
I've yet
food.
to get to the end of tomato. I'm back to sleep.
No kidding.
That helps me. Whatever I was worried about or rethinking, replaying in my head, I'm probably not the only cop that will say this. You replay how your day went, or if you had an arrest, or if you fought with someone, you replay things and the choices.
Good or bad outcome.
Correct. Could I have done it better? Should I have done it different? Yada, all the things.
Yeah.
And as you're laying there winding down, that's like the worst time to frickin' think about that stuff.
Yeah.
You're trying to wind down and go to sleep,
Yeah.
not get all amped up again. You
Yeah.
start thinking about tomato or whatever, dog, whatever word you want to use. I need a little bit longer than dog.
Just had to get in trouble with dog. I'd be like, hit him at the end. Now what?
Yeah. And so that has really helped me. Or I do have a dog that will get me up almost every night. And sometimes if I say go lay down, she will. But sometimes if she's adamant about going out, I'll get up. So I got to go downstairs, take her out, get her back in. You know, walking up and down stairs wakes you up. Being outside with her while it's cold out because she's afraid of the dark, it wakes you freaking up. So climb back into bed, and then, you know, your brain starts going. So that's one coping mechanism that I learned in that training.
I'm going to try that.
You should.
I will.
You know what else I like to do for good night's sleep? Sometimes I'm ready to go to sleep and Danny's not, and she's watching a show. She purchased
like a wireless
like
headphone
what you
type
wear.
thing?
Yeah, some headphones that connect to the TV.
Yeah.
So then I don't have to listen because I'm a super light sleeper.
Yeah.
So she's got headphones that connect to the TV, and I wear a face mask.
I'm going to get my wife a gift.
There you go.
Yeah,
That-
the face mask.
Yeah, it blocks out everything.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of warm. It feels nice on your
Yeah,
face. And it stays on. So both of those things have helped me a lot to
Yeah.
go to sleep, stay asleep, and get my 7 to 9 hours.
See, that's the type of thing that when we talk about it, used to be we would, you would make fun of it. You just better toughen up. And it's like, but wait, we've now normalized these kind of conversations where I need help. And what you just shared, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm up. My brain does not shut off. But it's a small church. I'm the only pastor, so I'm it. And so I get, I have to be on call nonstop. And my phone never gets shut off. It's always right next to my bed. And the only way that I can get any break from anything is I have to go out of the area.
Oh, sure.
I
Like
go
a
to
vacation.
Galena a lot.
Right.
Yeah, I go to Galena where you don't get cell service. Like I'm going to go. It's like I'm sorry.
Right. Right.
So, but learning what works for you, and I think that's important too, just to share these practical tips, because the younger generation, their device is a part of them. It's like my grandkids. I'm like, every time I'm with my grandkids, they're always on their device. It's like, how about we just talk? Well, that don't work anymore.
They do.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
I asked you a question.
I actually had one of my daughters say to me, "Dad, I can't talk right now. Just text me." I'm like, texting doesn't replace talking and hearing your voice, and So
Gary.
Yes, ma'am.
That self-care is maybe taking a vacation.
Thank you, Detective.
You're welcome.
Note to Valerie, we need another vacation. See, boy, I'm learning a lot here. This is good. I got a lot of ammo. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is all important, and it may not seem like a big deal, but it is, because it's always the little things that we violate over and over and over. That's going to get you. It's usually not one big thing that destroys us. It's a series of these little things that we didn't correct. I don't sleep good. I don't eat good. I don't exercise. Well, I take my exercise seriously.
Good.
And I'm working on the sleeping thing. But yeah, I do tend to carry people's burdens.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's a hard one. How do you not, when you care about people, when you want to help people, and it's like you carry that to bed with you, you ruminate on it, you wake up thinking about it. It's like, man, I got to stop this. So yeah, I'm a guy that, I'm the guy that sat at the table with my grandson. He wanted to play cards with me. His 7-year-old grandson. We're sitting at the table. I fell asleep while I'm playing cards. I'm like, that didn't just happen. Pa. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. So we all could use some help. Everybody.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the way I approach it, is that when I deal with people, I don't look at anybody as being perfect. It's like, who are we kidding? We all need help. We all need friendships. And I love that you said that relationships outside the job. That is so important.
Yeah.
I hate it when people ask me what I do for a living. When I go somewhere to just and like, as soon as they ask me, what do you do for a living? I'm like, yep, this is going to change everything. And you know what? It does. Just imagine sitting there, well, I'm a pastor. Oh my God. Now they start confessing, or they start putting on their spiritual talk, and I would imagine the same thing would be true for you. It's like you go someplace.
What's the question we get? When they hear you're a police officer or a firefighter, first thing every time out of the gate,
a lot
what's
of time,
the worst thing you've ever seen?
Or it's
You.
the corny joke of, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Stop, please stop. Like,
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't wear a lot of like blue line stuff.
Yeah.
Usually our gun and badge is concealed when we're out and about.
Yeah.
But when you're out with the friends outside of work, and they're like, my cop friend here, and I'm like, shut your mouth. Or my ma, who's very proud that I'm a police officer, she'll bring it up to people, and I'm like, Ma, not everybody likes cops. Stop telling everybody, especially if you don't know your audience.
Right.
Because they may not.
Someone in there's going, oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Someone might have a beef with the police, and now they got a beef with you, and not everybody likes us. You know,
not like a firefighter. Everybody loves a firefighter.
Everybody loves a firefighter, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but we mentioned at the beginning that even in the firefighter, really, the truth of the matter is, Emily, is that we learned that the fire service was a little ahead of the curve on peer support and taking care of their own, and I started thinking, man, we got to do a better job in law enforcement, and then they started catching up. You know, and it's nice to see the trend now, but I'm concerned that we're turning some of this. It's a very lucrative business too. This mental health wellness stuff. It's like, really, you know. So we got to, you know, you always have to be careful. Like, I don't just trust anybody that says they're an expert, or we're going to bring in an expert for this or that. It's like, oh, here we go. You know, how much is that going to cost? Cha-ching. You know, you get me for free. Mm-hmm. Well, you're not an expert. Well, I am a professional. You know, I mean, I might be a pastor, member of the clergy, but you know, you just got to be careful. I tend not to work well with everybody that considers themselves a chaplain, because not all chaplains are created equal, especially when they start using that language that I was telling you about. It's like, can you imagine showing up on scene? Here comes our chaplain. He's F-bombing everything. I'm like, holy cow.
I personally would probably start laughing, because you've heard my mouth. I've contained myself quite well today. But I personally would start laughing.
Yeah.
But I can see where you're coming from. Yes, you'd be like, where are you a chaplain at? Because I want to come to your Sunday service and hear what you have to say there.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a guy. He would actually teach his Bible lesson. I kid you not, with a cigar, big fat stogie, and I don't know if he had bourbon or scotch or whatever. But and I would just literally be like, how does this work? I mean, you expect a standard, if you will, because I want you to trust me. I want you to say, hey, you know, you're the guy. You have integrity. You know, blah 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 blah. You know, I mean, I'm not foolish. You know, but certainly I think that we just got to maintain a balance, and that's why I love having a peer support team with different, you know, members, because we do balance it out. And I know I'm not going to reach everybody. I'm not going to be good for everybody. You know, you may be, detective, but we can always say, you know what, they may want to talk to Chief Lewis, you know, whatever. But that's the point. We have a team, and it's a very good team. I think we're doing a great job, and I'm very proud of what we're doing. So someone had mentioned, you know, well, how often do you get called out or this or that? So, well, see, peer support is not just about we're going to get called in a crisis. It's about just doing this every day.
Keeping the pieces together before they come apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
sure.
That's a good way of looking at it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're kind of, you know, you're in the culture, in the community, and it's like, you know, I mean, there's peer supporters everywhere, but what is peer support?
And that's the other thing that varies so much.
Yeah.
When you said the fire service is ahead, that's true. They started well before, but what we've learned is those early programs of peer support.
Yeah.
Most of us in the business don't think too highly of how this all got started.
Yeah.
And it's only been recently that there's been a certification process to begin with, and there's really very few that's gone through that. Most of them are not all that well put together, with no formal bringing together.
Well, I mean, you have to have training. You have to have a formal, you know, and talk about the statute, if you will, or whatever the legislation is for providing peer support.
Yeah, that's unless you've been trained like you have in yourself and gone through that certification process, you don't fall within the law of confidentiality. When you have been certified to that level, then the admin of the department nor a court of law can go between that peer support person and who they were talking to. There's total protection there, which is there is not in a critical illness stress management program.
Yeah.
There's no protection there. What you say in those circumstances can be brought out and used against you. But with a certified peer support member, that can't happen.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Well, and you would think, why wouldn't every department have a peer support team?
Most of them don't know that.
Oh.
Yeah.
This law is, 2020 or 2022? I don't remember. I know it was an even year.
Yeah.
But not really too long ago that it's nationwide, and then each of the states have adopted their own version of it, but falling in line with the federal. And it was an easy sell because that was easy for politicians to say, hey, we're going to put together this peer support law for first responders. And so it sold off pretty easily.
So I mean, I'm looking at it too. Like, we have to take care of our own. We have to.
Absolutely.
I'm my brother's keeper. I want somebody to pay attention to me. And if you see me slipping, because truthfully, what really kind of, I don't want to say it just jerked the slack out of me, but when you hear about a peer support leader, retired law enforcement, taking their own life, I'm like, what happened there? This is the peer support team leader, recently retired law enforcement, and
just a few months.
Like what the heck happened there?
Maybe their bag got too heavy. Exactly. You know, the bag we wear, where you take on all the stress of the calls, and it might be a small pebble, and you're putting it in your bag, and over the years, you don't empty your bag, meaning you don't talk about it.
Right.
And then it just got too heavy one day, and they couldn't bear the weight anymore.
That is so good for people to remember. Your bag could get too heavy, and we've often said the same. We've said it in different language, where if you are a 10-pound sack and we keep stuffing things in there, now you're a 10-pound, you have capacity for 10 pounds, but now you got 17 pounds in there, and then 27, and it's going to burst. Something's going to break. And I know we look at it and we say, geez, that's too bad. As long as it doesn't affect me or impact me, I'm not going to worry about it, because that'll never happen to me. Well, guess what? We're all the same. We're all made of the same stuff. And some of us have a capacity to last a little bit longer, but if you don't unload that stuff, like you said, that bag gets too heavy. And then it just sends shockwaves, and it destroys a department. It destroys a family. It's like, well, I guess peer support's not working. No, that's not. No, you have to work it for it to work for you.
Right.
And it's our responsibility to let you know. That's why I really believe in the advertisement. I mean, wherever I go, and I know this is my own personal philosophy, I always want to wear something to attract someone. I want to encourage them to ask me about it. Ogle County Peer Support, what's that? Well, let me tell you what that is. So now, my nephew is, I wish he had somebody to talk to. Inevitably, that always happens.
Yeah.
Right. And what you don't know, you don't know.
Exactly.
Right? So if you don't know about that there's these peer support teams out there, then you don't know you have somebody you can talk to, and you're protected by the law.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and if we ever violate confidence just one time, if we ever violate that, it's done. It's over. Your credibility's shot.
Sure.
That's why it's just, you have to be so careful. You have to prove yourself, obviously, and for me, I have to have a good working relationship with admin. Otherwise, this doesn't work. If If I don't, then it doesn't work. But that doesn't mean that I'm admin's little snitch too.
Right,
I'm going
right.
to go check up on you and report back. That doesn't happen.
Do you have a good relationship with our admin, Gary?
That's a good question, Detective. And I'm going to just give you I'm going to give you the straight dope on this. You ready?
Yeah.
I have an amazing relationship with an amazing team.
Well, and that's probably why we have an entire peer support team.
Yeah.
Because you have a good relationship with them.
Yeah.
And you haven't pushed your God in church on people.
Imagine that. Imagine that. When I got the phone call from this agency to ask if it was something I'd be interested in, I had been...
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I hope you like that. It's not Italian. It doesn't taste like parm or anything like that, but it's chocolate. It's caramel. It's crispy.
Chocolate.
I do too. For those who may be wondering, well, what can my agency do? What can my department do? Well, first of all, you got to find the right person to reach out to and say, hey, is this something you might be interested in? Can we talk about this? I didn't even have to hesitate. I didn't have to say, well, I'm going to pray about it. I knew. I was like, yeah. This is what's been needing to happen, and I'm so grateful. An interesting little story that you may not know, Detective, is years ago when Mel was sheriff. Mel Messer.
That is some years ago.
I don't even know how this came about. It was about the time I wanted to build the Byron Chaplain program. That's a long time. So I've been here almost 30 years. So I'd say, yeah, it's every bit of that. So Mel wanted to have me go, took me out to lunch, and I don't know who all else was in on that luncheon, and he wanted me to be the chaplain here for the sheriff's office at that time. The only thing is, he said, I got to send you to Missouri for I don't know how many weeks of training and how many hours it was going to take. I said, I can't do that right now. I have a full-time job called the church, and I'm just building this other. I can't go disappear for I don't know how many weeks it was. It was just so I said, maybe this isn't the right time. But I knew in my heart that I was supposed to be the guy. Mm-hmm. And all these years later, I get a phone call. And, of course, I did go for the peer support leader training. But it's amazing how things go full circle. And when you're supposed to do something, maybe it didn't come together then, but it sure came together now. And I'm a little bit older now, a little bit wiser. I've learned a few things. Boy, that was a long time ago. There was no such thing as peer support. No term expression called peer support. No mental health awareness. No wellness programs. None of that back then. And it's just amazing to see how things evolved and changed.
Yeah.
We have learned a few things, But yeah, if you don't have, if you don't have a good working relationship, you got to find the right person. You got to find the right person, huh? For your department, for your agency. I love having the countywide platform so that I could do the most good for people and just encourage people. Hey, we're doing this. This is what we need to do now, and it's going to benefit everybody. I don't even know where I was going with all that because I got eggplant parm on my mind and angel hair pasta.
And then there were sirens.
Yeah, and then there were sirens. So
because I was listening to sirens, but trying to listen to you, and I was like,
yeah, what were the sirens?
What's going on?
That's what I'm looking
is that
up right
us
now.
or yeah, we never. Yeah, that's the other thing too.
Well, just to piggyback on that with admin, that is very, very important, and that's one thing that I've recognized here is admin has said here, and they know that they understand their role in this, that they don't interfere, and that they look for your guidance on this, and it's the perfect fit. That's the only way this thing works, is that the people use it, that you have good people in place in those positions. Have a leader that loves people, and that admin recognizes, here it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I'm not here to shove religion down your throat either. That doesn't work. Start beating people over the head with the Bible. It's like you can't do that. It's and being a resource. Obviously a resource for as much or as little as you need. And so what happens if we encounter a situation where somebody needs a whole lot of help? You just refer them to the next level of care. That's all that means.
Yeah, I'm calling you.
Yeah? All right.
I'm calling you. I'm like, yep, Gary, I need you to come.
Yeah, I guess, you come down. I can't deal with this. You need to take it off my hands. Like, oh, all right.
Well, you're like the supervisor of the peer support team, right?
I am. Yes.
So when in doubt, you call your supervisor.
Ooh.
And you say,
here's a rock for your bag.
I'm going to split this rock with you.
Okay.
You don't get the whole rack. I'm going to split it with you.
Thank
but
you. See, I love that. I love that. Well, according to our magnificent His Majesty the Sheriff, he says, I get paid well. He says, you get paid in gold. So it's like, okay, thank you. I know what that means. More rocks for my bag. But it's pretty exciting, Emily, obviously, to have you a part of it. And obviously, I was so interested to hear about your training because you took training from a different group than what we did.
Oh.
Yeah, ours, we had a retired a police chief, can't think of where he was, one of the suburban departments.
Okay.
And also a retired police sergeant from out suburban department too. And I love their insights and their perspective and their passion for peer support. A good diverse group we had like you did. I mean, you had, I may have been the only chaplain in the room for when I went, but there was a dispatcher, patrol deputy. I think we had just a good mix. So it's nice to see people taking an interest in caring for one another.
When your training started, did they go around the room and you introduce yourself and why you were there?
Yeah.
Did you have a lot of people open up?
I think the thing that I was impressed with is I don't think I heard anybody say, "Well, I didn't have a choice."
That is good.
Yeah, my department sent me here, but it was just like they seemed like they were there for the right reason. And the one interesting perspective, the dispatcher, I don't know which department it was, she was carrying guilt over something because she sent her officers into a situation that was potentially fatal for them.